this visualization, but if we could add Dave, our director in the control room, Trevor, who is at a watch party at the San Diego Air and Space Museum. And Trevor, I gather the nerves get felt in that room right now. So
absolutely, David. And what we are seeing is basically every single checkpoint that's being hit is being met with thunderous applause. You can hear those battering right now. That's been happening continuously, 30 seconds after 30 seconds after 30 seconds after. And what we've been seeing are generations of families experiencing something that many of these people have never experienced before. I talked with one man here, an 86-year-old grandfather. He said he remembers watching the very first space launches. He remembers the Apollo flights. He remembers those first lunar missions. It inspired him to become a pilot and an engineer. Now, after 45 years of his own flight, he's retired. He is back here tonight with his grandchildren watching Artemis. And then at the same time, we're hearing from young people. There's two people behind me here, Lena, Olivia. These are students at UC San Diego who told me that they can't believe, when they learned about Artemis, they said, I can't believe it's happening in real life and not in the movies. That's how long it has been. What we've been hearing from family after family is that this is something that feels like a previous America would accomplish. Now, of course, we're in that tight window. Will it land safely? And of course, we know
Turn her up a little bit.
but they're optimistic.
no question about that. A lot of optimism, a lot of prayers across this country tonight as we watch and wait for Artemis 2 to emerge in communication.
Standing by for communications from the crew. We should be out of the blackout period less than a minute from now.
All right, let's listen. Less than a minute here to see if we can regain communications with the 4 astronauts on board: Victor Glover, Reed Weissman, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen.
We are now processing data from Integrity.
Which is a very good sign, right, Susan, that they are getting data. No communications yet with the astronauts, but they are receiving transmission from Integrity.
Well, this is great news.
Landing and support officer reports the small boats are en route to the splashdown target zone.
The vessels carrying the divers, members of the U.S. Navy standing by to race to that splashdown zone. And Susan, tell us what we're looking at right here.
It's the visual. It's the camera view of the reentry. It's no longer a visualization. And, you know, it looks healthy.
Well, they mentioned 6 minutes. We knew they would be 6 excruciating minutes, particularly.
Passing through 150,000 feet, our trajectory is perfect. We're getting intermittent views of Integrity. Still waiting to establish voice communication.
Integrity, Houston, comm check, post-blackout.
Houston, Integrity, we have you loud and clear.
Incredible.
Your trajectory is nominal, and your recovery teams have visual.
So there you go. Artemis 2 responding
No action for the enabled internal camera controller fail.
to mission control.
Big cheers from the viewing room here in Mission Control as voice communication reestablished with Commander Reed Wiseman. For America and a waiting world, Integrity is 5.5 minutes away from coming home.
Well, it's not often when you sit here at the anchor desk when you feel chills. This is certainly one of them. History being made tonight. Artemis 2, the first mission
100,000 feet now.
in many decades, taking humans back to the moon. In fact, they went farther than
Range to splashdown 19 nautical miles.
19 nautical miles until splashdown. We were expecting it at about 8:06 or so Eastern time, 8:07 perhaps. So just about 5 minutes from now. They mentioned those divers are already en route. They clearly know where. Certainly
Integrity impact to the camera controller fail is no Cab 1 views of the chutes.
we were expecting, hoping that we might get a view of some of these parachutes, though we're not entirely sure we
We're
will.
processing good data through the GPS system. A good view of integrity. Time to splash down 4.5 minutes.
4.5 minutes to splash down. There's an elaborate sequence of parachutes here. The first deployed at
And
around,
the view of integrity from the WB-57.
there you go,
Yeah.
We're at 50,000 feet.
at around 22,000 feet, you'll see the first parachutes here. Part of this sequence of shoots. I saw some movement right there. Was that a... There it is. You can see a flash of something. I'm not entirely
Not
sure
yet.
it's one of the
Pyros
shoots.
are armed for forward bay cover jettison.
A flicker of something just above.
Here, you're gonna see the drogue, jettison, and then the drogue shoots.
And they deploy at about 22,000 feet, right,
Right,
Susan?
and they're the first ones to come out.
Yeah,
There they are.
They're
there
there.
they are right there.
And then
There
they're
go the first series of
other ones right
parachutes.
away.
And we're on drogues.
Yeah, Houston, we're visual 2 drones out the window.
The drogue.
Those parachutes right there will slow the spacecraft to about 200 miles an hour.
Next up,
We copy, we see them.
the deployment of pilot parachutes that will pull the main chutes out. Time to splash down 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Well, it's just incredible to think for human beings inside that capsule, right? Who have just seen the far side of the moon and come back to tell us about it. And what a bond we've witnessed from them, the hug,
Perfect descent rate according to flight dynamics.
Good rate on 2 drogues.
the symbol of the heart in their
We keep the
photographs
same on board.
that they sent back. And they named one of the craters in the moon that they discovered themselves after Reed Weissman's late wife, Carol. She died in 2020 of cancer. They'd been together for decades. And one of his fellow astronauts
Passing through 10,000 feet,
spoke of the moment
still on drogues.
because Reed couldn't say it himself. Though he was moved, certainly, that the astronauts decided, let's name it after your late wife, Carol. So many stories they'll share with us. There's the second set right there.
Main chute deploy. We're at 5,000 feet.
The crew
Search and recovery beacon has been activated on integrity.
The search and recovery beacon activated for those Navy divers who are now racing to the site.
Out the window.
Good 3 main chutes, good reefing, good descent rate.
Good rate, then we see 3 good-looking parachutes.
This is picture perfect.
Integrity, cabin pressure indicates no need for hydrazine checks.
Integrity copies.
This is a perfect descent for integrity. Its crew sounding hale and hearty on board.
Glad to hear it.
Time to splash down 1 minute, 15 seconds.
1 minute, 15 seconds until splashdown in the Pacific Ocean off of San Diego. The USS John Murtha is in the region. Navy divers will race to the craft. They will deploy that inflatable around the
Integrity
capsule.
about to complete a journey spanning 694,481 miles from its launch from the Kennedy Space Center back on April 1st and a trip around the moon.
I mean, these are words you have not heard in decades in this country. There are a lot of viewers watching tonight who remember this from the Apollo mission, that several of them, those missions, but of course, a whole younger generation witnessing something that they've only read about in the history books. There's a little flash there at the capsule.
Passing through 1,000 feet.
Those 3 parachutes, of course, the end of that sequence. certainly the ones that are doing most of the work in trying to slow this capsule, slow integrity down to about 20 miles per hour. There's the splashdown.
Splashdown confirmed.
Copy splashdown, waiting on VLDR.
Splashdown confirmed at 7:07 p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time.
Which, by the way, is exactly when NASA said it would happen.
Modern-day
7 minutes past the hour.
A new chapter of the exploration of our celestial neighbor is complete. Integrity's astronauts back on Earth.
Back on Earth, in the Pacific. The divers will get there. They will look at the outside of Integrity to make sure.
And the landing and support officer reports the vehicle is stable 1.
Stable. There
We
you go.
still will be deploying the crew module uprighting system to maintain that orientation. A perfect bullseye splashdown for Integrity and its 4 astronauts.
We can breathe.
We can't. We just want to see them now, right? And they will get to the craft, the divers. And as I was mentioning earlier, I just don't like to talk over NASA because they're so fascinating. I'm having fun listening in on them as well. But they will check the exterior of the capsule to make sure that there isn't any significant damage, make sure it's safe to open the latch.
The unofficial splashdown time, 7:07 and 47 seconds p.m. Central Time. We'll get that refined for you.
Now they're just showing off. That's exactly when we
1
said it
hour,
would happen.
31 minutes, 35 seconds.
It'll be an initial
And
check.
we're configuring for a very low data rate.
They will initially check to make sure that all of the astronauts are feeling okay. And then they're going to take
Splashdown occurring in the Pacific, southwest of San Diego at 7:07 and 47 seconds p.m.
Integrity Houston, comm check on VLDR.
Houston, we have you loud and clear on VLDR. How else?
We have you the same. We'll meet you over in post landing.
way to Integrity.
Perfect communications established.
We are told this is the first time that the U.S. Navy has teamed up with NASA to get to the crew on board, those 4 astronauts,
Houston, copies all.
3 Americans, 1 Canadian.
Green crew members, that is not their complexion. That is the fact that they're in great condition. That's what that means. So stable 1, upright. The crew module uprighting system is being deployed. The 5 airbags being inflated through helium to maintain the upright configuration for the vehicle. This was a textbook entry and a textbook touchdown for Integrity. Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen back on Earth after a journey around the moon.
Yeah, that's going to be impressive at the Thanksgiving dinner, to be able to say that we were the ones up there. We know that standing by are 2 Navy MH-60 helicopters. They actually have cameras on them. We're getting some of these images from those helicopters. They're going to be carrying them to the nearby ship, the USS Mirtha, which is waiting. They're going to put 2 of the astronauts on each helicopter. And I believe Christina Cook is going to be the first to emerge. Do we know who will emerge from the capsule?
Christina Cook is first.
Yeah. She'll be first, which seems appropriate. And Susan, you know all too well the relief, the sighs from these families waiting to see their loved ones.
We continue to
I imagine there were tears from all of them, every one of them. Tears of joy, of relief, of happiness. They must have held the breath for the last 30 minutes.
Reed Wiseman reporting 4 green crew members, meaning they're all in excellent shape.
Who knew that green crew members is code for excellent shape? Usually when you see someone green, although I wouldn't be surprised if they did look a little green after what they've just been through. But that's not what it means. It simply means they are in great shape. The divers reaching.
Our beacon is in 406, and we're firing our radio now. Go ahead.
We see the beacon on. the recovery team is not seeing the signal. Your SAR radio uses the same antenna, so you may run into trouble with the radio.
Okay, copy, and we're also firing up
So we're about to witness
now.
an extraordinary moment where we will see the hatch lifted, and the astronauts, again, as I mentioned, will be checked for a quick medical evaluation before something far more extensive on board the USS Murphy.
As the crew continues its post-splashdown,
They'll be taken away by those two helicopters.
on board. Reed Wiseman once again reporting that all 4 crew members are in excellent shape. And we have 5 inflated airbags to maintain an upright configuration.
I want to bring in Dr. Anderson. He's an emergency
recovery
medicine physician trained in aerospace engineering.
Slow approach to the
You would know better than us that when you hear they're green, which means they're in excellent health, and we're hearing from the commander, Reed Wiseman, who's in the capsule, who says the rest of the 3 are in perfect health. That's got to be great news for you to hear too, Dr. Anderson.
after a thorough system check.
Yeah, that's as good as it gets, and
Gases.
that's kind of the first evaluation of the astronaut crew is they all kind of look left and right and give each other the thumbs up. And when the first recovery team gets there and takes a look in the hatch, they kind of do the similar and make sure that everybody's feeling okay. Before, you're right, they go on to do more extensive medical evaluation and even a little bit of research testing as soon as they get their feet on solid ground again.
They'll be given the opportunity to stay at a hotel in San Diego if they just want a little time to readjust before being taken to Houston. But Dr. Anderson, I gather they'll go straight to Houston. Look what they've just been through.
Yeah, I think they're probably eager first to see their families, eager to, I think, greet the people of the world and just celebrate this exciting journey we've been on.
Cody Page also with us here tonight, National Geographic Explorer, professor of mechanical engineering at Columbia, and the former director of MIT Space Exploration Initiative. And Cody, I know you have studied all too well the re-entry and the stakes, and knowing that heat shield, the job it had to perform, and we have witnessed history tonight. It did exactly as NASA was hoping.
Some trouble with the Sarsat phone on board, but that's not an issue. What is more important is,
Cody, can you hear me?
Solid.
Yes, yeah. It's honestly, sorry, I was listening to Nat there. It's been, the whole mission, I feel like, has just been incredible that it's been exactly how it's supposed to be. So the way that heat shield worked and the parachutes deployed and everything, the timing, it's a testament to exactly how perfectly NASA plans these things. So exciting.
It really is. Cody, thanks so much. Dr. Oluseyi also still with us. The anxiety gone? We wanted to check back in with you, make sure you're breathing okay.
I'm getting the glare off the TV screen of the room and paneling.
Fully deployed, right? And now, they've made it safely.
Turn the light out once.
Now we just wait to see the divers get to the capsule and open the hatch.
That's better.
Thanks so much. Asa Stahl, also with us, science editor for the
Still showed up as soon as you turn the light on.
The history that's been made right here tonight with generations watching. And as I mentioned earlier, so many of our viewers remember the Apollo missions, but there are so many others who have not witnessed something quite like this before.
Yeah, this was truly spectacular. I mean, I realized I was holding my breath, but I was at the launch and it felt. Sorry,
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go. Yeah, you're
okay. Cool.
Just fine.
Just also hearing the NASA broadcast. Yeah, it was at the launch just as almost surreal to see that we actually did it. It worked, and it was just so inspiring to see this is what we're capable of if we only try, if we make the investment in ourselves and in NASA. So I think a lot of people, millions of people around the world are seeing this and feeling inspired and ready to celebrate.
And Asa, take us through these next few steps, because this really was the first step in what could be an extraordinary next couple of years here. The next Artemis mission will do some additional testing, and then the one that follows could be the one that actually lands on the moon.
That's exactly right. And I tell you, after watching this, I can't wait for the next one. 2026 or 2027 could not come soon enough. That's when Artemis 3 will happen. As you just said, that's going to be another crewed flight test, but it's not going to go to the moon and back like Artemis 2 has. It's going to test out the spacecraft and docking procedures in orbit around Earth. And then Artemis 4, if all goes well, will happen in 2028, and that will be the actual lunar landing mission. And then it's hopefully off to the races.
And Asa, we can do this
every 6 months.
And we know that 2 astronauts will be on board that mission to land.
Yes, that's right.
Really just incredible. And good for you for being at the launch as well, remembering both ends of this extraordinary journey.
15 minutes?
Let's listen to the mission control.
Yeah, we're down delay.
All right, Jackie, we've selected T/D+30. No joy on Star Radio or Sapphire. And stand by, we have the master diver on Star Radio. Please hold comms. Hey, Lily, excuse me. Hey, Jackie, we just got the master diver on Star.
8:22 was the timing that NASA had said there would be a capsule power down, is what they call it. There is some word that power down might be something here, but you can see those teams.
Good view of one of the fast boats.
There you go.
Hey, Houston, if you are happy with your comm with Master Diver, you can go back to the 15-minute power down.
One of the fast boats circling Integrity right now.
Okay, stand by. Yeah, we'll confirm here in a second.
They were able to get
Crew on board Integrity coordinating with the flight control team in Houston here in Mission Control on the timing of power down of the vehicle, which will be the precursor to the recovery teams approaching the spacecraft. There are no issues with Integrity. We've had a bit of broken capability in establishing a SARSAT or satellite phone communications capability between the crew on board Integrity and the recovery team. That will get sorted out here shortly.
Can't blame it on the satellite.
There's plenty of cooling on
Because everything else was picture perfect here.
So there's
If you're wondering how these dive teams were able to get here so quickly, it's because the USS Bertha,
getting an answer
the
there.
amphibious naval ship, was just about 1.5 miles from the splashdown point. Will Reeve standing by in Southern California. And, well, I'm not sure if you heard the sonic boom, but off in the distance in the ocean there, this is picture perfect.
Yeah, David, there's a lot of folks out here at the beach who were hoping to hear the sonic boom. They kept coming by asking us if they were going to see the splashdown or hear it, and unfortunately, no dice. But everybody knows that out there, the crew safely splashed down and that the rest of the protocols are happening as they should be. Every precaution being taken, every item on the checklist being taken care of, and a sense of excitement here in San Diego. This feels like these astronauts who went further than anyone has ever traveled before in the history of mankind. They returned here to Southern California. People are pretty excited about that here, even if they didn't hear the sonic boom. We were looking forward to that. Maybe next mission.
Maybe the next mission. There are going to be a couple more Artemis missions now that this one has been successful. You can see the teams in the water there, just off the coast of San Diego. And as Will was saying, there's a lot of pride there in San Diego that they've been part of this history. Recovery teams are going to secure some lines here. They're waiting for the power down before they can get any closer to the capsule. Delayed NASA stuff because of some issues with the satellite communication.
Called the front porch. That will be the port of call for the crew as they're being extracted one by one from the vehicle.
You heard me mention the front porch that I had mentioned earlier. That's the inflatable, nicknamed front porch because they'll step out of the porch. They've earned that moment.
Integrity Houston for sat phone. We are going to attempt to call you.
Good idea, standing by. And Jackie, yes, we are pushing the push to talk, the 2 buttons on the left side of the radio below the up-down arrows. We are utilizing them. I'm rebooting the radio to see if we get good comms.
Okay, we copy all, and just to confirm, you are seeing that you are touchdown plus 3030 for power, correct?
That's the affirmative.
NASA astronauts. They're just like us, rebooting the satellite phone to try to regain communication here before they can power down, Susan. And that's been the moment when the divers can really move in.
Right. It's like the power cycle that you do at home when your Wi-Fi isn't working, you know. It's the same sort of thing, but, you know, to have come this far and everything work well, and this is the thing that is delaying getting out of the capsule is almost common. But I remember in the Apollo days, it was the same. Once the splashdown, any number of things could still go wrong. So, like I said, the families aren't going to breathe until they're out of the capsule and on the ship.
Which will happen soon.
The large inflatable raft.
The inflatable raft
front porch.
The front porch is talking
Will
about.
be where the astronauts are extracted from, so that they can have a few minutes to get their land legs back before they're hoisted aboard the Navy helicopters for the flight back to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha.
And you were lucky enough to talk to the astronauts at the very beginning of their journey.
That was the first, David. I realized that later on. 20,000 miles away they were, and we were able to speak with them, and it was remarkable because I remember speaking with Victor Glover and saying to him, you know, with so much division that we see in this country, what do you see when you look down on planet Earth? And he said, I see one. I see one humanity. And then there was that reminder that he had just before they lost communication the first time as they went around the moon, when he repeated those words from Jesus, when he said the greatest commandment is to love one another. And then we had that blackout behind the moon. It was remarkable to hear those really human stories.
No question about that. And you know, these astronauts seem fully aware of, you know, the times that we're in and sort of the political divide and all of the stuff that we also take in on a daily basis. And they knew that what they were doing was hopefully achieving sort of making history in their journey to the moon and back, and they certainly have done that. And they were, in this most recent press conference that they did on the eve of their return, very clear that while we have enjoyed these images and seen those moments where there was real camaraderie, I mean, the brothers and sister on that capsule in embracing one another, but most importantly, they wanted to be able to bring all of this back. They said they had so much more to do with what they had discovered while in space, what they had seen on the far side of the moon. You know, these teams will conduct a quick hazard assessment in the water before actually opening the hatch as well. There you see one of those MH-30 helicopters, MH-60 copters, which will transport the astronauts from the raft right back to the USS John Murtha, which is only about 1.5 miles from the splashdown site. We know the first helicopter, mission specialist Christina Cook, pilot Victor Glover. Victor, of course, is the one who said it's like riding a fireball through the atmosphere, and they have landed now in the Pacific.
The establishment of communications between Integrity team that is basically standing by very close to the spacecraft. We're going to go to the deck of the USS John P. Murtha, where Megan Cruz is standing by with Administrator Jared Isaacman.
The second helicopter will carry mission specialist Jeremy Hansen. Of course, the Canadian on board who made history as well, and Commander Reed Weissman. And Commander Weissman is the one who lost his wife, Carol. And it was that team in space together who decided, let's name the craters we've discovered and seen with our own eyes after Carol.
I'm honestly, I'm still at a loss for words.
Sure, got my camera stand. I'm tired of holding my phone.
What I just saw, I mean, almost been waiting my whole lifetime to see this, and then as NASA administrator, I just couldn't be more proud of the entire workforce, the years, the effort, the late nights, all the hard work from across the country that contributed to this incredible moment right now. And yeah, incredibly grateful too for our teams here on the John P. Murtha right now.
Yeah, look at the behind us here.
Got everybody. What do you guys think? We just brought some astronauts back from the moon, huh? Thank you. Yeah, so grateful to the Navy, the sailors. They're here, the NASA teams. I mean, this is a joint effort that's on their way right now. These recovery forces are getting out to our Orion spacecraft to Integrity to get our astronauts back on the ship safely.
That's the team at NASA celebrating their history being made as
Probably got to be the worst part of everything is the sitting in the capsule in the ocean waiting.
Yeah, like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
Well, I'll think about the crew members that we've all had an opportunity to observe over the last 10 days, right? I mean, they're absolutely
Oh,
impressive.
there's a close-up of it finally.
Wonderful communicators, almost poets, but then I think these were the ambassadors from humanity to the stars that we sent out there right now, and I can't imagine a better crew than the Artemis 2 crew that just completed a perfect mission right now. So, yes, it's a huge moment for everybody, right? I mean, we are back in the business of sending astronauts to the moon, bringing them back safely, and to set up for a series more. I mean, this is not a once-in-a-lifetime. If you hear this is a once-in-a-lifetime. No, it's not. This is just the beginning. We are going to get back into doing this with frequency, sending missions to the moon until we land on it in 2028 and start building our base.
I love that. He said that we are back in the business of traveling to the moon. Just a few moments left for this special report. And Susan, I just wanted your thoughts. I love that he said they were ambassadors of humanity, going to the moon and back, and now they've come back and they've really taught us all, reminded us all what unity really looks like.
Yes, they have done the.
How long it's going to take them to get them out of there. That's what I'm waiting for.
Because they will forever be ambassadors for humanity.
Well, Susan, thank you so much for being here, former NASA astronaut yourself. We are going to come back on the air when we do see those astronauts for the first time. I look forward to showing you that moment. In the meantime, we'll go back to regular programming. I'm David Muir here in New York. We'll see you shortly to see the astronauts. Good night.
And here we go. 10, 2, 1, and liftoff. The crew of Artemis 2 now bound for the moon.
Yep, I remember as a kid watching those launches.
We have confirmation of crew module, service module separation.
Integrity, good. CM right, burn. Your flight path angle is within limits.
And we have crossed the threshold now, entering the Earth's atmosphere. Main chute deployed. Integrity, splashdown, setting course landing command now. 4 green crew members all in excellent shape.
This has been an ABC News special. Artemis 2, coming home.
You're on a bit of a roll at the moment in Double Jeopardy.
Oh, very exciting, very exciting.
You have some Celebrity Jeopardy experience, but did you do anything different to prepare for All Stars?
You know,